and welcome to this Green Trees Adventure Store video on solar power. Now, I've got Mike Charville from Sunshine Solar. How are you?
Fine.
Fantastic. We're going to basically talk about how solar panels can be good for your caravan and good for your motorhome, and how exactly you can apply it so to get the best out of your batteries and really take advantage of this fantastically eco-friendly power source, isn't it?
It's fantastically eco-friendly. It's effectively power comes from out the sky.
Absolutely, it's free.
It's free.
And you've got it forever. It's never going to go away. The government's not going to tax it.
No, it's one of the few things in life that you can rely on. Once you've bought your panel, it's not going to cost you anything.
Absolutely. So now, if we get back to the basics, solar panels. Here we have a solar panel here. Let's just talk about this. So what essentially does a solar panel do?
The solar panel produces energy from the rays of the sun or from the UV that comes down from the sun, converts it into usable power to charge your batteries.
Okay, so that will allow you to go on a site without mains, and this will essentially charge your battery, therefore powering your caravan.
That's correct.
Okay, now, second confusing point that I get asked at the dealership is what type of panel? You've got monocrystalline, poly, something. Tell us about it.
Lots of mumbo jumbo talks about different types of solar panels. Effectively, in today's market, there are two types. It's polycrystalline, monocrystalline. The only real difference is the name. There's a slight efficiency advantage with the monocrystalline if you are going to use the panel where the sun is predominant. But here in the UK, with the changing weather and the changing sky, there really is no difference over the course of a year. If you look at the performance of polycrystalline and monocrystalline against one another, it's not worth measuring.
Okay, so what we're not going to do is get ourselves confused and wrapped up in the technology. We're going to keep it nice and simple so you, the customer, can work it out quite easily. So let's now take a look at the solar panels.
Okay.
Okay, Mike, so we're now looking at the different types of panels, and what we have here is one of your products. This is a standalone. If we have a look, here are the legs, okay? Standalone solar panel, which you just fold out. These legs go in and it folds out from there, and you stand this outside your caravan and then connect this to your battery. So super easy for you guys. Just connect and go, isn't it?
Connect and go. It's the ideal solution for people who don't want to permanently mount a panel on their caravan or motorhome. They just arrive on site, unfold the panel, drop down the legs, connect the cables to the battery, and you'll be producing power straight away.
Absolutely, it's so easy. These come with a regulator, so all that techie stuff which people worry about, this comes with it all, doesn't it? You don't worry about it.
No, you don't have to worry about anything. It comes with a regulator which will look after the power coming from the solar panel to the battery and ensure that you never overcharge your battery.
Okay, superb. So, done with that. Let's put that down, and let's have a look at the other alternative, which is now for you motorhome guys. Oh, now interestingly, this panel here comes with this superb bag, doesn't it? It's super robust. Unzips, put it inside. Once that folds up, goes in there, so just store it in your van. Absolutely fantastic. So let's take a look at the other type. So we've now come inside. It's actually my motorhome, and Mike, we're now going to talk about the fitted options, and let's essentially go through what comes with a fitted option pack.
Okay, with a fitted option pack, you've got your solar panel, which will be something like this, which is in this case a flexible panel, or it will be the more traditional rigid style panel. In addition to that...
And what's essentially the difference between those two panels?
Essentially the difference between the two panels are, this one is completely without any weight at all virtually.
Yep.
It bonds down onto your caravan roof and therefore effectively disappears. It's very discreet.
We just bond
very
it,
secure.
See, on there, stick it to the roof, bang.
Job
no
done.
holes, no nothing.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Then
the other type, which is the one I've got on here, isn't it?
It is. With that, you have to fix it down with brackets, but it does have the added advantage of making it more transferable. So if you somebody who changes your motorhome or caravan on a regular basis, you can take your solar panel with you.
Okay, so there's the two options between the two different types of panel, and then what we also have is a regulator, separate regulator on these, don't we?
We do. It's an important part of the kit because the regulator looks after your battery.
Okay, we'll cover those options in a bit, and then lastly we have the digital display. So Abs, if you want to come round between us, and what we're going to do is just take a, let's just put this set right again. Okay, we have a digital display here, which shows the output from the solar panel, isn't it, Mike?
That's the output from solar panel,
Here,
yes, showing...
which is 12.8, and we're on a pretty murky day here. It's a pretty grim day, and it's still putting out 0.7 of an amp.
Yep.
This tells you the status of the battery, and if you have a direct load, you have also an indicator on there. But essentially, the meter is an option. You haven't got to have it. But for me, I need to know exactly what that panel is doing. That digital display clearly tells me.
That clearly displays it. You see all that you need to know there. That's very much for people who enjoy knowing what's going on. But with solar, if it's light, it'll be producing power.
I know, but I'm a control freak, and I love the meter is so informative, and I know exactly what's going on. So, right. So now what we're going to do is cover the maths, the critical bit that will tell you what size panel that you need. So, Mike, we now have to do the important part, which is the math, which is the bit that all customers are mostly afraid of because they don't know which panel they need. So, first of all, panels come in wattage sizes.
They do, yeah. Various wattage sizes. Bigger the panel, the more power it's going to produce.
Okay, so the higher the wattage output. So, how do we then turn that into, when we're using power, we all understand that we're using, for instance, this TV we've got going at the minute is using around about 2.5 amps, something like that, and that means something to me. How do we work out how much we're going to use versus how big a panel we need?
Okay, we're starting with the maths for the solar panel. Most solar panels work on an operating voltage of around about 16 volts.
Okay.
So if you take typically a 40 watt solar panel, you divide the wattage by the voltage.
So 16's into 40?
Yep, 2.5 amps per hour.
Yep, so we've got 2.5. Is that the final figure that will deliver?
That's the final figure it will produce on a maximum hourly basis. However, it obviously depends on the number of daylight hours there are.
Yeah.
So it would be very easy to sit here and say, well, in the summertime there's 16 hours of daylight, so you times 2.5 hours by 2.5 amps by 16. Of course you don't, because the light changes all the time and the panel doesn't work to its full efficiency all the time.
So what we're going to do is we're going to be conservative in our math. And so what, if you say, 8, 6, what are we going to say?
We work on a conservative 6 hours of maximum performance per day in the summer,
Okay.
3 hours in the spring and autumn, and just over an hour in the winter.
So what we then do is then the 6 hours times this 2.5, so 6 times 2.5 is what, about 15?
15.
So it's about 15 amps that this is going to put out. Okay, so we now know what the solar panel is going to deliver us. What we now want to do is do a quick tot up in your motorhome, and what I've got in here is I go and free camp. I have fluorescent lighting in the ceiling, but I also have halogen lighting in there. Halogen uses an awful lot, so fluorescent doesn't use a great deal. LED is the best, which you notice I've changed my spotlights to, uses next to nothing. So you work out roughly what you think you're going to use in lighting, around about 4 hours. I think I'm going to use around about 6 amps in lighting. How long are you going to watch your TV? At 2.5 amps. I think maybe 3 hours, so that's 7. So we're around about kind of 15, 16. If I'm going to have a shower maybe, I think what I'll do to be generous, I'm going to say 20 amps I'm going to use a day, Mike. So what we now need to do is we now need to marry the panel with the usage. So how much did we say that put out a day?
We said that the 40 watt panel would put out about 15 amps a day.
Okay, and I said I'm using
20.
20. So effectively each day I'm going to be down 5 amps, aren't I?
Yeah.
If I've got 110 amp on here, then that basically will be down 5 amps each day. So you can see I've got 20 days use before that really kind of goes out. So now you can see how that small panel can power this motorhome. Personally, what I would probably want to do is probably go for a 60 or an 80. In fact, what I've got fitted to this is something a lot bigger, but I'll explain. But it just shows you how you can work out your consumption, roughly. We now have shown you the math, and that's the wattage of the solar panel output over 16, the voltage, gives you an amperage output. Times that by the number of hours in the day you're going to get power. 6 during the summer, 3 in the spring and the autumn, 1 in the winter. Then you've got your two figures, marry them, and then away you go. Now let's talk about my system. Okay, so Mike, let's talk about my system just to show just how efficient these panels are. I have a 150 watt rigid system mounted to this motorhome. I free camp, so I don't have site hookup at all, and I go away for a month at a time. Now, Other factors to bear in mind when you're setting a system up is I use inverters and quite large inverters, and I certainly find with the 150 watt panel that you've got with your meter, which we've had a look at just a moment ago, its efficiency is fantastic, isn't it?
Oh, they're wonderful. They really are wonderful. It only takes a reasonable amount of light to give a good performance on the panel. You don't need a lot.
Absolutely. I looked only yesterday here, and we had a sunny day in September, so I wouldn't say it's a hot summer's day, and it was delivering 7.5 amps, I think it was, and that's a massive amount of power.
Yeah, that's getting pretty near its maximum. So
Right.
that's very impressive considering how low the sun is at this time of year.
Absolutely, that's very good, and it allows me to be entirely independent, run an inverter, run this motorhome, as I say, on free camp pitches, so I never use mains. And if you design the system properly, that's how effective it can be. So essentially, any more information that you need about any of these solar solutions, contact the shop on 01362 696 434, or stay online. You're online at the moment. Take a look at some of our other tutorials. Take a look at the shop, and that will give you the different options of solar panels. Probably the most important point I'd like to make is that our guys have been trained by Mike, who's an expert in this, on exactly how to match up your solar needs with your caravan. So get in contact with us. We can recommend the system for you. You can either go with the off-the-shelf system, such as the freestanding units, or go with probably a more efficient system. One thing we failed to say with the fitted systems, because they're on there all the time, the beauty I have with this is when I'm not using my motorhome, it's all charging up. It's all getting your motorhome ready to use.
You can't underestimate the benefit of leaving a panel on all the time,
Yeah.
because it will keep your battery in top condition all the time, which two benefits. One, you never have to carry it off and have it charged, and the other, of course, is it will probably last you an awful lot longer because it's not going flat.
And when you have the system fitted, you do generally just forget about it.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have your panel on. You literally just forget about it. And with the complexity and the efficiency of your regulators, they entirely control and protect your battery, don't they?
They do. They manage the solar system completely.
So it's absolutely superb. Mike, thanks for the information on this. Absolutely superb. We can always send customers to you for advice on the solar systems.
You can.
But between us, Sunshine Solar, Green Trees Adventure Store, we have your solar needs sorted. Get in touch, because it really is the way forward.